Morning. Today is the ninth day of Navratri, so it's the last day of the 9 nights actually that we've been celebrating. Let me adjust this so that you see the lamp. So yesterday we just touched on the sixth chapter in the Devi Mahatmyam, in the grand story of the Divine Mother that I write about in my blog, in my meditation today. And there are actually three more chapters, the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. There are four more chapters that describe various battles that Devi has before she destroys Shumba and Nishumba. They send various generals to her, the first of which is Chanda and Munda, and there you see Kali coming in again to kill Chanda and Munda. Kali emanates from the form of Devi, the Mahasaraswati form of Devi, and then she kills Chanda and Munda and hence gets the name Chamundi. Then there is the story of Raktabija, who's a person, who's a demon, where from every drop of his blood, 1,000 more of them, of his form is created. And that's again, all of these are metaphors. So the Raktabija I like to think of as an uncontrolled mind, where once you're in a negative spiral, every thought gives rise to 1,000 other thoughts that are negative, right? So it is that's what his form represents. And finally, she kills Nishumba, and then she is in battle with Shumba in chapter 10. And it's in chapter 10 where she utters the phrase that's called it's called the Mahavakya, or the main phrase of the Devi Mahatmyam. And in translation, it is, "There is nothing else in the world other than me." And she says this when Shumba is deriding her because she has created these seven separate Shaktis, 7 separate goddesses who have been helping her in the battle with the other demons in this third submyth. And he says, you are not able to do anything yourself. You have all of these other forces that are helping you. If you have courage, then fight me by yourself. And she says to him, "There is nothing else in the world other than me." And she withdraws all of those other devis, all the other goddesses into her. And that is the most powerful phrase in the myth, because it is what I've been trying to reiterate all these days, that everything is a manifestation of the divine, which includes you, which in that chapter also includes the demon Shumba. So he thinks he's separate, but he's not separate. He's a part of Devi. It's just his delusion that is keeping him separate and making him continue to establish that separation and that's what the battle is. That's what the war is. And so it's also important to note that there is, in that sense, there is no good and bad. Shumba is a demon. He is representing ego and greed and all of that. But the important thing to realize is that all of that is an essential part of creation, right? So it's not just peace and love and honey and milk that is creation. There is also anger and greed and violence and injustice and hunger and strife, and all of that is also creation. And all of that also exists within us. And so the reason to get into a space of complete self-acceptance is to integrate all of that into this one powerful form, where you recognize that there is nothing within you that you need to reject. That is not to say that you have to go out and kill people. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there are violent tendencies within you. There are peaceful tendencies within you. There is joy within you. There is deep sadness within you. And there is none of that needs to be rejected. And where we want to get to, what I call radical self-acceptance, is recognizing all of these good and what we term bad forces within us, and being comfortable with them, because we recognize that we are all an expression of the divine. We are all Devi. There is nothing else in the world other than me, she says. And so we not only are expressions of the divine, but when we are able to bring together this entire entity that is us, that includes the violence and the peace, the sadness and the joy, the disappointment and the hope, all of the polar opposites, and recognize that they all exist and can be allowed to exist within us, two things I believe will happen. One, we will stop judging other people, because the reason somebody triggers us with their violence or with their anger is because we recognize that within ourselves and we don't want to see it. So when we are able to say, that's part of me too, I can see you in me, then the separation goes away. That is true peace. That is when we will really have peace, definitely within ourselves, and then reflected outside in the world. So the big message today, as we end the 9 days of Navratri, is that there is nothing in the world that is not an expression of the divine. Krishna says this too at the end of the Bhagavad Gita. So that's a common theme in many of the Hindu myths, that everything in the world is an expression of the divine. So in that sense, there is no good and bad. There are just different expressions. And the idea is then, how do you integrate it and recognize that all of it is okay? And it's only when you get integrated in that way that you are then able to fully stand in your power, because there is no part of you that is pushing against the other part of you. Right now, we have parts of us that we are ashamed of, parts of us that we are happy to own. When we get to a space where we are happy to own all of us, then we become integrated. Then our energy is one, and we are powerful, and we become true expressions of the Devi, of the divine. And that's when we fully are able to live our purpose. I would even say that is everybody's purpose. How you get to it may be through different means, but the ultimate purpose is to be integrated, to be fully self-accepting of yourself and pushing nothing away. So that brings us to the end of Navratri, the Navratri videos. I do conduct a group meditation course that has at its core this idea that we learn to accept all of us. And so there are guided meditations that identify where anger lives in you, and teaches you to welcome it in anger, guilt, shame, distrust, despair, all of those emotions. So if you are interested in participating in the next group meditation course, I will put my email below this video, and you can email me, and I will add you to the waiting list of people who want to join the course. So I hope you have learned something about the grand story of the Divine Mother through these videos. I will be back tomorrow, because tomorrow is the 10th day. It's the Sera. It is the day we celebrate the victory of knowledge over ignorance. So I will be back, but just leaving you once again with this idea that there is nothing in the world other than the divine. So this is the last day of the Saraswati Puja as well, and so I'm going to leave you with a mantra that you can use for Saraswati, and it is Om Shreem Hreem Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shreem Hreem Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shreem Hreem Saraswatyai Namaha. God bless.